Hello and welcome to the editorial analysis of The Hindu. Today we shall be discussing the editorial of the 4th of May. So coming to the first article, an image makeover of the Belt and Road Initiative. Now the context here is with regards to the second Belt and Road Forum which is taking place in Beijing. This is what started on the 27th of April. In this context, for the past few days we have been discussing several articles, but amongst all of those articles that we have discussed in the past, this is the most important article because this is the most comprehensive. So the article is an important one. Now coming to the issues that have been discussed, the first issue that has been discussed is about the attendance. Now the editorial here is highlighting that the attendance to this particular forum was something that was to be praised. It comprised of approximately 37 heads of states as well as of governments. Major countries like Russia also participated. Also countries from Central Asia, Southeast Asia participated. However, from South Asia, it was only Pakistan and Nepal who had summit level representation. Other countries from South Asia had sent their representatives, but India and Bhutan completely boycotted this particular forum. Also, what is important is that 9 European leaders also participated here, which is a major achievement considering that US has openly criticized the Belt and Road Initiative. Also, 7 of these 9 European leaders were from the European Union. Japan had also sent a special envoy. The United Nations Secretary General was also present. Also, the managing director from the IMF was also present. So, indeed, the attendance was something that China needs to be proud about. So that is what has been discussed here. Next, what is important are some allegations that have been discussed. Now the editorial is discussing that the Belt and Road Initiative has faced a plethora of complaints. So several allegations are what are laid against the Belt and Road Initiative, and these are what are important because a large part of these allegations is what India also believes in. So you should have an idea that what are the criticisms that the Belt and Road Initiative is facing. The primary criticism is that the projects are what is selected as per China's priority. For example, if in a country development is what is required in the central part of that country, then China will not prefer that. China will rather prefer setting up infrastructure projects on the ports because that is what is in China's own particular interest. So that is one issue. Also, there is an issue of inadequate consultation that is taking place between countries. The terms are what are agreed to bilaterally and non-transparently with the leadership. This is what is again leading to a lot of challenges for these infrastructure projects. Also, the benefits of what are not trickling down to the population, and the contracts that are being given, they are being given to the Chinese companies. They are being implemented by the Chinese labor, and the raw material as well as products are what are being imported from China. So the benefits of this project are what are being translated into China, but no benefit is what is being seen in the country where the project is being developed. So that is one issue. Also, there is a challenge of debt traps because it is being believed that unacceptable amount of money is what is being poured in by China, and this is what is at unrealistic terms, which will later result in a debt trap. Also, there is an issue of corruption that is happening in many of these countries who are partners in the Belt and Road Initiative. This has become an election issue also. Also, the labor laws as well as the environmental laws are what are not being respected. So these are the allegations that the Belt and Road Initiative is facing. Next is the issue of a makeover. Now, in his speech, the president of China, Mr. Xi Jinping, has highlighted that definitely they are working towards a makeover of the entire Belt and Road Initiative. He has said that they will be focused on extensive consultation, joint contribution, shared benefits. The projects will be made more transparent, people-centric, green and clean with zero tolerance to corruption. So all of this is what has been reiterated from the summit level of the Belt and Road Initiative. This is a major welcome step, and in this line it is being argued that India should also rethink its decision of not being a participant in the Belt and Road Initiative, considering that China has accepted major allegations and it has promised to do away with these issues. So that is something that is important. Next issue is with regards to the bilateral and plurilateral cooperation. Now, primarily I have picked it up this particular sentence because this is a key phrase. Whenever you want to express that the Belt and Road Initiative is a bilateral and plurilateral project, you should write it in this way, that it is a bilateral and plurilateral cooperation. Now here the editorial is bringing to light that the Belt and Road Initiative was previously in the past was only about infrastructure, but now it is developing into a much higher level of cooperation. For example, The Belt and Road scholarships are what are being offered. Now, training programs under the Belt and Road Initiative are being offered. Also, exchange programs are what are being envisaged. There is cooperation for port administration, accounting standard, tax administration, banking. All of this is what is being planned against the backdrop of the Belt and Road Initiative, which is a major achievement. They are focusing on building sustainable cities, energy. Also, there is focus on settling dispute settlement mechanisms of what are being developed. So this is something that is aiming at a community of a common destiny, which is the motto of the Belt and Road Initiative now. So it is developing much more. So that is something that is important. Also, this is in the backdrop of a churning in global politics that is taking place, where US is being now challenged by another superpower, which is definitely China. China has a new self-confidence which it has shown in this particular forum. It is openly accepting that it has the might to stand against global leaders like, for that matter, USA. So definitely this is what is a shift in the global geopolitics. So that is something that has been discussed. Next, what has been highlighted here is something very, very important. It is about the digital Silk Road of the 21st century. Now, the editorial is saying that previously the Belt and Road Initiative was about building infrastructure projects, but now this is also going to focus on a digital connectivity between different countries, and this is what is resulting in a digital infrastructure being built by China, and this is what is going to result in further tensions between US as well as China, because China has extreme mastery over the 5G spectrum as compared to the technology being mastered by other countries like US. So if digital connectivity is what China is going to focus upon, and this is what it is going to develop, especially with European countries, then a large share of connectivity is what is going to go to China, which is not in the interest of US. So that is one geopolitical analysis which has been discussed, but at least for now, you should know that this project also now will include something called a digital Silk Road, which was about digital connectivity infrastructure. So this is another important aspect of the Belt and Road Initiative, which you should remember. Next, what has been discussed here is some of India's concerns, which is regarding the China-Pakistan economic corridor. We have discussed this elaborately, and the editorial is not focusing much on this aspect, but definitely the editorial, like all the other previous editorials, is also calling upon India to rethink its decision of not associating with the Belt and Road Initiative. So this is the entire analysis of this particular article. Very, very important article. Belt and Road Initiative is going to be an important piece of constant now. I would say this is not a part of current affairs, but rather it is a constant topic which you have to prepare for general studies in the context of international relations. So that is the relevance of this particular article. Coming to the next article, Gst buoyancy. Now the context here is that the GST collections have hit a record high recently. In context of all of these kind of articles, I have always mentioned that these are somehow seasonal events, or these are temporary events in economy. Definitely we study about them to remember or to read about the trends, but otherwise questions in this regard are somehow rare. Only you can quote them in your answers as an example that yes, GST has seen a bounce in a particular part of the year, but otherwise a question directly is not going to be expected. So coming to the issues that are important, the first issue is with regards to the Gst inflows. Now these have definitely risen, and the amount that the GST is what has been collected is 1,13,865 crore of GST is what has been calculated in the month of April. So this is the highest collection of the GST. So this is a positive aspect. The second issue that has been discussed is with regards to the economic growth slowdown. Now India has definitely faced a slowdown in the economic growth, which was first 8.2%, then it fell down to 7.1%, and then it fell down to 6.6%. So there is a fall in the growth, but despite that there is a hike in the GST collection, which is showing that maybe economy is going to pick up again. So that is what has been discussed here. Now the third issue that has been discussed here is with regards to this entire episode of a GST rise being a perplexing trend. This is primarily because if the economy is not performing well, then how is it that the GST collections have risen, is what the editorial is trying to explain. It is saying that it might happen because of the greater compliance that citizens have shown towards payments of the GST. Also, this could be because in the month of December, tax rates were reduced, and as a result of which tax compliance might have increased. So that could be one reason. Also, this is the month of the financial year ending, so there might be a rush to pay tax areas. So as a result of that particular seasonal event, the taxes have suddenly increased. Also, this might be because of the enforcement action that have been taken by the taxation department or the taxmen to bring more and more people under the cover or the net of the GST. So it is primarily for these reasons that the GST collections may have arisen rather than it being an actual increase in the economy. So that is another analysis which has been given. Next, what has been discussed, and this is what you can extract from this particular article, is the need for simplifying the procedure of tax collection. This is primarily because if one wants to sustain these results of increased inflow of taxes, then simplifying the procedure is what is required, because this is what results in cutting down the time and the energy required to fill the myriad tax returns is what has been discussed here. So it is in this line that simplifying tax procedures is what is needed in India. So that is the entire analysis of this particular article. You can only use it as a fodder material. Direct question is what I am definitely not expecting. You can get a question like, analyze the GST, the performance of GST after 1 year of its implementation. So in that context, you can highlight that yes, there were increase in indirect taxes in the month of April in the year 2019. So that is how you have to bring about this particular analysis. So that's about this particular article, and that's about our discussion today. I thank you all for watching the video.